Over Labor Day weekend, I decided to educate myself more on LGBTQIA issues since I was raised Mormon and have no idea about the history and have never watched any of the famous movies because as a good little Mormon I avoided them. So over the Labor Day weekend I watched Brokeback Mountain, for example, and looked up a couple of historical documentaries on YouTube. I watched every episode of We're Here on HBO, fabulous documentary about 3 drag queens. But the prize of the weekend was finding a series called Gentleman Jack on HBO. You must understand that I love Bonnet movies, and as I have become less and less Mormon, I've become more and more feminist. And Gentleman Jack is super awesome. So I'm still in season 1, and I just finished watching episode 4 last night. So this is probably going to be a spoiler, so if you don't want a spoiler, quit watching this TikTok, go watch the show, and come back. The 2 main characters, Ann Lister and Ann Walker, are the couple that eventually will marry. Because I didn't realize this was a true story about a real person. That made it even more awesome. But anyway, in this scene, Ann Walker ends up telling for the first time to, the first person she's ever told, about how she was taken advantage of by a clergyman who was her friend's husband. And I'm watching this scene, and triggers going off. It's basically the same situation that I was in with my LDS ecclesiastical abuser. The same feelings I had, the same shame I had, the same lines that were given to her, the same blame and shame that he passed down on her, the same obligation. And I cried last night at the reaction that Ann Lister had, which was to correctly reframe the situation from the blaming that this girl was taking on herself to saying, hey man, you were under this guy's roof, under his care. You are not to blame. You are being victimized. I mean, she totally reframed it totally awesomely. And my husband said to me today, not being aware that I'd seen this, is there something bothering you? So I played in this scene and realized that the thing that bothered me is that Ann Lister gave the response to Ann Walker that I never heard. She said the things I needed to hear that no one ever said to me. And her vow to defend her friend was something nobody ever said to me. And all these years later, that still hurts.